This is my second KitchenAid mixer. My first one was a KitchenAid Classic. It was a white one, and I found it lasted about 6 years, and then it started having troubles. It had the same problem with it as actually this one did. This one here is the Professional 5 Plus. It has a nice large size bowl. I'll bring the bowl up with the lever. Now, I was never a huge fan of this setup, and I'll show you why. Because to get the attachments on, the paddles, the whisk, the dough hook, you're kind of cramped in this space, and then sometimes it's finicky to try and get it on there. And when you're mixed up in a large quantity of say cookie batter or dough, it's hard to get in here to scrape down. You lower this down and you try and get your spatula in there to scrape down the sides. And it's really crowded, and I find a lot of times when I want to give things a good scraping down, when it isn't getting all the butter or all the flour off the bottom, I do this. I just take it right off and do it separately. Another thing I wasn't really thrilled about was it didn't take long, and I was really careful with these beaters. It didn't take long for these chips to show up. See in there, this one there. Now, my question is, where have all these gone? Are they in the food that I was mixing? Because I always wash it by hand. Now, what the problem is with this is this. There's a gear that is gone way up in the front, up in here. Now, I'm going to show you what the problem is with it. Hear that? Every time it gets into this area on the planetary, this part that goes around and around in there is called the planetary. Every time it gets there, it has a problem. And if you have any butter, any cookies in here, this is what happens. It just stops. And I'm not putting any pressure against that. So, yeah, my cookie batter ends up half mixed. Now, on my old one, my white classic one, it had developed the same problem. So my husband, being a do-it-yourselfer and fixer, took off, there was a silver, a chrome trim piece around the bottom, pried that off, took off everything that needed to be taken off, took the housing off the top, pulled the motor out. There is a lot you have to take out to try to fix the little gear that's up in here. I believe that one, back when we fixed it, it was about $60 to $70 for the gear. And this up in here is all packed with heavy gear grease, and so it's not a pleasant or easy operation to take all this off, and you have all that globs of grease there that you know, scrape off with like a paint scraper or something. You clean that all out of there and fish the gear out, clean everything up, because you got to replace all that gear, because you don't know where all the little pieces that came off the gear, where are they going to mess up all the other gears. So you got to clean everything out of there. And so he replaced the gear grease in there, and you know, it went for another few years, and then I decided that I wanted to upgrade to a larger, heavier duty model. And so my husband surprised me one Christmas and bought me this one. And I can't say that when I was using it I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. No, it's got its drawbacks. Like I say, it was cramped trying to work in the bowl. Not a huge fan of the lever, actually. And I'm not a huge fan of the attachments going on here. They tend to, if you're grinding meat, liquid from the meat tends to travel backwards down there and into that gear grease. And same with pressing fruits. I have the fruit press attachment, and putting that on there, juices from that tend to travel in there. And so I was really surprised when I start having grease, watery grease all coming out around there, and underneath the mixer there was grease running down here and in there, and there was just a whole puddle. There was just a whole puddle of black grease under it. I was horrified. So through my research, I decided that this is the one I was going to try. This is the Kenwood Major. It's quite popular over in England, and I ordered it through Costco. So I'm going to unpack this, and we'll see what's in it, and hopefully it arrived in good shape, because I seriously haven't looked at this yet. So I may, you know, end up having to return this right quick. And then I'm going to make a banana loaf. I did like about this is that it's 800 watts of controlled power, and the thing I really liked about it is the tools are all stainless steel, and I really want to get a look at this dough hook. I really like the design of it. Scraper, wrench and instructions. Whoa, that's got some weight to it. And here's the dough hook. Yeah, I'm really interested in this design. I think this will scoop up the flour for the for making bread, for doing the doughs. I think that'll do a good job of scraping it up. And I really like this because the idea of it is it's supposed to clear all your dough from climbing up here, because that was one thing the KitchenAid was really bad for. it'll get up on here and get up in there and get some of that grease I was telling you about, and then you have grease on your dough. So if you catch it quick, you can pick off the grease out of your dough and get rid of it. But if you don't, I had that happen to me one time. It mixes all through your dough. Very unpleasant. Up top here. I really like the idea of this. I thought I was going to have to order one separately. It's on there nice. I like the two handles on the bowl here too. I always found the KitchenAid bowl hard to clip on and off the stand. Oops. Release that. That goes down. Nice. That, like I say, that like I showed you, that clipped on to the top there, or rather just slides on nicely. And that drops down, and then the chute closes. So you're mixing flour or adding milk, adding ingredients in there. Look at that. It has a pulse here for if you have attachments like the blender. And these are the power outlets up top. This is a high-speed one and medium, and this one here, it's a little switch here you pull, that just pops right off, and that's the low-speed one. So all the attachments have different requirements as to which one they need to use. Now let's see how much noise it makes. Midway. That would be if you just started to fold in, get your flour mixed in. Okay, well, let's have a listen to the KitchenAid. I don't find that bad at all. That's at 2. This at 10 speeds. That's midway. And just to compare the difference in the dough hooks, well, I'm going to wash things up, and then we're going to make some banana bread. Okay, so I'm going to add the butter. And we're going to cream that. So, let's see how it does. Right, so that's nice and creamed. Now we'll add sugar. Eggs are in. There's the salt. It's been soured with some vinegar. Up, and I noticed the butter wasn't stuck to the side of the bowl. And the bananas. Baking soda and baking powder. Quick mix on that. Okay, so I'm going to put the splatter shield on. Right now, it's supposed to be easy, so there we go. That on, and I'm going to add my flour and get that mixed in there. Wow, even with the splatter shield, like nothing poofed up like it always does. Scrape down the sides here. I don't think it matters what kind of mixture you have. You always have to do some scraping. Going to wait until the very end. So I always have to scrape the bottom with the KitchenAid. I'm curious to see if there's anything stuck on the very bottom here. Okay, I'm going to add these nuts. A quick mix in there. And it's done. Cook and eat. I'm not seeing anything stuck to the bottom. Yay! Okay, I'm gonna get this into my pan. Now, I've avoided scraping the very bottom of this because I want to know what it's missed on the bottom. Look at that. There's nothing, not a speck of butter or flour. Everything is beautifully mixed up. And that's the banana bread making with Kenwood, the Kenwood Major. Do you approve of the new mixer? Okay, so now I'm going to be making the bread. Okay, so we're going to start by adding the water to our bowl. We've got the dough hook on there. I'm really curious to see how the dough hook works. And the flour goes in. Now we're going to try this without the splatter shield. See how much flour puffs up. Okay, next we're going to add the starter. And the salt. Doing a really nice job. Hasn't left any flour in the bottom of the bowl. Okay, so we added a little more flour to that. Nothing is sticking to the dough hook at all. So tip the head up and nothing stuck to the beater. Nothing worked its way up like it did on the KitchenAid. Of course, this is a really small batch of dough. That cleared everything off the bowl nice. Nothing stuck all over the bottom. Really nice job.